Millions of people who watched Squid Game finished the series with the same feeling: discomfort. But that discomfort didn't come from the blood or the violence alone. What truly unsettled people was something deeper. Most of the characters felt familiar. They weren't soldiers. They weren't trained killers. They weren't psychopaths. They were ordinary people. People with debt, people whose lives had already collapsed, people who had been pushed into a corner by the system. That is why Squid Game resonated so strongly around the world. The show doesn't present evil as something done by evil individuals. It presents evil as the natural outcome of a system. Throughout the series, there is a detail many viewers overlook. At no point are the players told, "You must kill." Instead, they hear phrases like, "These are the rules." Participation is voluntary. Anyone is free to leave. The winner takes the prize. On the surface, this feels fair, but psychologically, it's dangerous. The human mind can resist a direct moral command. If someone tells you to kill another person, your conscience pushes back. But when someone tells you to follow the rules, the brain treats it as a procedure, not a moral choice. In Squid Game, killing is never framed as the goal. It becomes a side effect. The focus stays on the game, the rules, and winning. That allows the mind to create a powerful defense. I didn't kill anyone. I just played. Every game in Squid Game is a children's game. This is not accidental. Children's games trigger innocence. They soften danger. And most importantly, they represent a time when rules were not questioned. As children, we follow rules because we assume they are legitimate. Squid Game forces adults back into that same mental state. The show repeatedly says, "You are free to leave." But when players leave, the world waiting for them is brutal. Debt, violence, shame, and isolation. A choice exists on paper, but not in reality. The system is designed so that continuing feels like the only rational option. At that point, the mind tells itself, "I chose to stay." But the truth is simpler. The system made that choice first. In 1961, at Yale University, a psychologist named Stanley Milgram asked a question that would deeply disturb the world. How far would an ordinary person go if an authority figure told them to continue? The people who joined his experiment were not violent. They were not cruel. They were ordinary men and women with normal lives. They were told the study was about learning and memory. Inside the lab, everything looked serious and legitimate. White walls, scientific equipment, and a man in a white lab coat. That lab coat mattered more than most people realize. It silently communicated one thing: authority. Participants were given the role of teacher. In another room was a learner. For every wrong answer, the teacher was instructed to deliver an electric shock. The voltage started low, 15 volts, then 30, then 45. At first, it felt harmless, but with each mistake, the voltage increased. The labels became alarming. Strong shock, intense shock, danger. Soon, the learner began to protest, then to scream, then to beg. Around 150 volts, the learner said he wanted to stop. At higher levels, the screams turned into silence. This was the moment many participants hesitated. They turned to the experimenter. The response was calm and firm. "Please continue. The experiment requires that you continue. You have no other choice." These words contained no threat, but they shifted responsibility away from the participant. From that moment on, the thought was no longer, "I am doing this." It became, "I am being told to do this." That mental shift is everything. When the experiment ended, the results shocked even Milgram himself. 65% of participants went all the way to the highest voltage. Most people continued even when they believed they might be causing serious harm. Not because they were evil, but because authority told them the responsibility was not theirs. In Squid Game, the most disturbing characters are not the players and not the guards. They are the people watching, the VIPs. They never touch a weapon. They never take a risk. They never face consequences. They sit comfortably, drink, laugh, and observe human lives as entertainment. Many viewers say the VIPs feel exaggerated or unrealistic, but that exaggeration is intentional. The VIPs represent what happens when power becomes completely separated from consequence. They don't see people, they see outcomes, they see performances. Psychologically, this creates moral distance. Moral distance allows a person to feel involved without feeling responsible. I didn't do anything. I was just watching. This is the same logic used by participants in the Milgram Experiment. I didn't harm anyone, I only pressed the button. The action feels indirect, so guilt feels optional. Squid Game also uses game mechanics to deepen this effect. Rounds, eliminations, clear winners and losers. Games simplify reality. They turn complex moral questions into binary outcomes. Win or lose, advance or disappear. As viewers, we begin to root for certain players. We want someone to survive. And the moment we do that, something subtle happens. We accept that others must lose. This is how desensitization begins. The first death is shocking. The second is uncomfortable. The third feels expected. The brain adapts quickly. This isn't a flaw in human psychology. It's how the brain protects itself. The prize money hanging above the players reinforces this process. Money is visible, countable, concrete. Human life is not. The brain naturally focuses on what it can measure, so attention shifts upward, toward the reward and away from the cost. This is why Squid Game feels so uncomfortable to watch, because at some point the viewer realizes something unsettling. We are closer to the VIPs than we want to admit. We are watching from safety. We are emotionally invested, and we are not at risk. The show quietly asks a question without saying it out loud. If watching feels this easy, what does that say about us? One of the most important findings of the Milgram experiment had nothing to do with electricity. It was about imitation. When people were alone, they were far more likely to obey. But when they saw someone else refuse, everything changed. In versions of the experiment where another participant said, "I won't continue," obedience dropped sharply. Not because people suddenly became braver, but because the brain learned something new. Stopping was possible. This reveals a powerful truth about human behavior. Obedience spreads, but resistance spreads too. Squid Game is designed to prevent that resistance. Players are isolated. Trust is broken early. Competition replaces solidarity. No one stands up and says, "Stop" out loud, because the system makes sure that moment never happens. Isolation amplifies authority. This isn't just a concept from a TV show. Any system where you don't set the rules, don't control the outcome, and are only expected to execute tasks operates on the same psychological logic. People often say, "I'm just doing my job." That sentence is the modern version of, "I was told to continue." Many people believe conscience alone is enough to stop wrongdoing. But both Squid Game and the Milgram Experiment show something uncomfortable. Systems can be designed to bypass conscience. Rules, procedures, uniforms, and titles can turn moral decisions into automatic actions, and automatic actions are rarely questioned. The most dangerous thought a person can have is this: I would never do that. Most participants in the Milgram Experiment believed the same thing about themselves. So did the players in Squid Game. The real question is not whether people are good or bad. The real question is this: under what conditions do people stop? If everyone around you continues, if the rules demand it, if authority says go on, where would you stop? That question has no easy answer, and that discomfort you feel right now is exactly the point. Because this story was never about them, it was always about us.